Hello, everyone. Sorry we're a little bit late. Things just happened to not work out for a second. But anyways, welcome to Achievement Hunters. My name is Scott, and this is Hunter. We are the Achievement Hunters, and we have a wonderful show for you today. Um, I also want to just a quick shout out to the r/gamer news. Um, a subreddit because that helped me really find a couple of good topics to talk about. One of which being Grand Theft Auto 6. Um, and Grand Theft Auto 6 is delayed, but they released a new trailer for it. Uh, um, Also, Microsoft has raised the price of all Xbox Series consoles. Xbox games are also confirmed to hit $80 this holiday. And and also Oblivion Shadow Drop remaster. That's super cool. All right, let's get into the show. Just wanted to say, the Achievement Hunters podcast is only thanks to people like and people and viewers like you. So thank you for sticking around and watching us talk, and thank you for sticking around for the podcast. All right, so let's start off in terms of um, things that we need to, in terms of topics. There was one I wanted to bring up. Hold on. But, oh yeah, first off, the main topic of the day. We got Switch 2 pre orders. We. We were really frustrated with the all the details coming around the Switch 2, and we still got them. Why don't we start with that? Why did we still get them? You can go first if you want. Wait, hold on. Hold on. My thing's not capturing you for some reason. Hold on. It's not capturing your voice. Hold on. It's not capturing Dick's your audio for some reason. Hold on. There we go. Okay, I think that worked.
Is it like,
There we
is it
go.
going through now?
Yeah, there now
Okay,
it's
good.
going.
Okay. So, pre-orders. Mine, I didn't intend to pre-order at all initially. I actually went to sleep at 11. I didn't bother staying up till midnight. But the day after, the morning after, I went to work, and a coworker of mine who also got a pre-order, she said that she accidentally fell asleep and got hers from Walmart off of their website at around 2 a.m. And then that had me thinking like, oh, maybe they're just selling out a little bit slower at like my like I guess I don't know if it was just Walmart or like my store specifically because I live in a town that's like it's like somewhat of like a nowhere-ish town. So like pre-orders for like stuff like games especially don't really happen that much. So I guess maybe that affected it. But long story short, we checked the website and it turned out pre-orders were still open, not for the Mario Kart World Bundle, but just for the regular edition. So I promptly stopped doing my job. I went to the bathroom, spammed the pre-order button for about 7 minutes, and I managed to get one.
Yeah. So my story was that, and I'll be honest, I was already um, going into the direct, planning to get it day one. I was so excited. You know how excited I was for this. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, no, I think everyone was super excited for the Switch too. Um, the main thing was that there was all sorts of things. regarding the Switch 2 that just came off really badly, unfortunately. The increased pricing, which wasn't shown up, the the fact that the main thing that was to greet you um, was going to cost you money. The welcome tour was going to cost you money. Um,
Um,
you had all that going through, um, and then you also had mm, oh you just had so many things. Oh, also the game key cards. There's that. That's a whole can of worms.
mm,
Um, so yeah, just a whole bunch of things that just didn't want to go through. And I'll be and then the price being 450. I'll be honest. At the start, I was like, ugh, okay, more expensive than I wanted, but doable. But the fact that the games like Mario Kart World were $80 at launch, man, that was brutal.
yeah,
I
what were
yeah,
you saying?
no, I was just saying, yeah, I was like, man, that was a instead of a just to shut up and take my money. That was a man. I had to think about this,
Mm,
So I
yeah.
went from a I would I was gonna do this anyways to yeah. So I can't talk today. uh,
It's okay.
anyways, anyways, those were the reasons for why I decided to get a Switch 2. Hold on. There we go. Sorry, I keep trying to check my stuff. Um, for the person that commented at the very beginning of stream, I'm so sorry. Um, it doesn't allow me to see your comment. Anyways,
Mm,
what I was gonna say was, uh, so why did decide on it in the end? Well, the fact is that they did show off enough good things. Um, and the fact is that I am going this with no Switch library and no Switch console whatsoever.
oh,
Um,
I heard. Yeah, did you just not get around to getting a Switch, or did you just like
yeah,
decide
no.
just not to?
I was just not in the ecosystem at the time because first I was just going through mostly I was just going through college and just didn't have
Mm.
time for games because first I was dual enroll and then I was going through freaking engineering school, so it was
Oh,
like, yeah, I got a bachelor's in engineering, so that was a
oh
freaking
wow.
and like one my first semester they were trying to get me to do five like five intensive classes. It
Mm.
was like, ugh. Anyways, um, the main reason I wanted to the reason I got the pre-order the Switch 2 was more as a Switch Pro, not as a Switch 2. The the main fact was the fact that it's backwards compatible is huge and is the reason I'm getting the console. If it was not backwards compatible, I don't think a single person I would say I don't think those pre-orders would sell out. I'll
Yeah.
be honest. If the Switch 2 wasn't backwards compatible, I don't think those pre-orders would have sold out.
Mm.
So Nintendo knew. They knew um the Nintendo Switch 2 needed to be backwards compatible.
Definitely. Yeah. That's one thing that Nintendo has like admittedly like that's like in it. I don't want to say that like it's something that they never do, but it is something that like they've only like dabbled with in the past, backwards
The only
compatibility.
time they did it was because they needed something cheap and effective, and that was the Wii. They, th
Yeah,
for the Wii, they needed a super. They needed a super GameCube. That really was what the Wii was was essentially three GameCubes in one.
yep.
So that was the only time they really dabbled in that backwards compatibility. Um, oh, and the Wii U being backwards compatible with the Wii because the Wii U just didn't have an identity beyond being a Super Wii.
Yeah, and the backwards compatibility still was like really weird. Like it didn't just like play Wii games
You
and
had
that
to
was it. No,
switch
it
to
like
a
it
Wii specialized Wii
yeah,
mode.
yeah,
You had to turn the
it like
console off and then it essentially turn the console off and then reboot it as a Wii. It was not
pretty
play Wii U
much.
games. It wasn't play Wii games on the Wii U. It was reboot your Wii U into a Wii.
Yeah, it was basically an emulator of a
It really
console on
was.
another console.
It really felt like it. Just in terms of UI, it really did feel like it
Yeah.
and how it functioned. I'm so there's another thing I was really not happy with was um, the messaging around what stuff was upgrades, what stuff was like a paid upgrade to a remaster. They did it was weird,
Yeah, they
and it
haven't been very
also
clear about that.
well, not only that, it also helped to push this narrative of things being $80 because
Mm.
besides Mario Kart, the only games that were $80 were the Nintendo Switch games with the $20 upgrade plus DLC.
Yeah.
Because it was essentially what it looks like is it's essentially a $10 to get the remaster, and then if it's a remaster with additional content like DLC content, it's $20, which wouldn't have been bad if there was like a way to choose, or I don't even know because that's the thing is like
Yeah.
they needed to price cap. They needed to price cap it and stop it from being $80. And all DLC needs to be on the cart. Looking at you, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, that they majorly kind of shot themselves in the foot with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is all. So the reason why is specifically as a Super Switch. Um, I'm really concerned about the direction of the company, which is why I will not be getting Donkey Kong Bonanza, and I will
Mm.
not be buying any of the Switch 2 games. I won't be buying any Switch 2 games with the exception of Mario Kart World, which I got for $50 because of the bundle.
That's fair. I don't even know if I'm gonna get. I want to get World, probably not right away.
I would wait for a sale. Good Black
Yeah,
Friday sale, maybe. Hopefully.
I might like go physical too. Even like just hunt down a used copy or something.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
even if it is
pre
that
owned
stupid
copy.
game key card thing. Yeah.
Well, thankfully, Mario Kart World won't be a game key card.
Oh, it won't. Okay, that's actually
Nintendo's
really good.
first party games are almost entirely on the cartridge. I've not
That's
seen one
a
yet,
big relief, actually.
but almost every third party is a game key card.
Mm,
So
that.
your Sonic X
Oof.
Shadow Generations. won't be on a car. Everything from Sega won't be. Everything, all your
Mm.
RPGs and stuff from Atlas won't be. Um, your Bravely Default master or remake won't be, which is sad.
Yeah,
That
I don't know how to
like
feel about that.
the fact that the only game at launch that will have the entire game on the cartridge is freaking Cyberpunk. Also, can I just give a hat off to um, CD Project
See,
Red? CD Project Red, yeah. Kudos. I know you guys made like no money on the Witcher 3 physical, so like the fact that you're just willing to do this when a lot of the companies don't is like
it's
uh,
very admirable.
it's very admirable. And I don't play a lot of mature games, but the fact that you put um, the entire game and the entire game's DLC, all the expansions, on a physical game card, no download required. That is admirable. That I might pay for that.
Yeah.
I I'm
Another
just
thing.
yeah. Go ahead.
Uh, another thing that's impressive and kind of admirable about CD Projekt Red is that apparently they're very big about game preservation, which is probably why they kind of pushed to make sure the game was all on the cartridge as well.
Yeah,
Because like with game key cards, even though you can sell them, you still have to re-download the games, and like 10, 15, maybe even 20 years from now, when like the eShop inevitably shuts down, who
yeah,
knows how long you're still going to be able to re-download those games even after it goes down.
yeah. Sega is what really hurt for me. The fact
Yeah.
that the Switch One's version is all on the cart, but the Switch Two is a game key card, and you can't take your Switch 1 version and upgrade it to the Switch 2 version. There is no way to update your Switch 1 cartridge to the Switch 2 version. There's no upgrade path for Sega's.
Mm.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's no excuse, honestly.
That's no excuse, Sega. Come on. I love how the Sega suck ups who are like, "Oh, this wouldn't have happened if Sega was still making consoles," and I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Have you not seen modern Sega? We not remember all the freaking madness that goes into like the Sonic Origins like different packages?
Yeah, Sega fumbled the bag like years ago, honestly.
They
Like
can still fumble the
there's a
bag.
yeah, there's a reason they stopped making consoles.
And the sad thing is I think they kind of stopped consoles on a high.
Yeah, because the Dreamcast I heard was really underrated.
It was underrated and it had some cool stuff. Problem was is that it was a piracy machine. A lot of
Oh,
people just were able to just rip a lot of stuff and then it just played right on their Dreamcast.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
unfortunately.
guess that's why it's kind of so cool nowadays.
Yeah.
You can
But
because like a bunch of sorry, what?
I was just going to say that um Sega as a beside Sega's main franchise, a lot of Sega's franchises just went away within the next 5 or 6 years. So it's like they kind of went for a long time. So it's like they kind of picked the right time to to end the Dreamcast and end the making consoles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, was there any other things you wanted to talk about with the Switch 2?
Um. Hmm. Trying to think. I guess I'm mainly just really excited to play Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom in each like 60 FPS. that's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's super neat. I'm actually really excited for my first interaction with Nintendo Switch Online.
That'll be pretty neat. It's it's okay. It's fine, like compared to like other like console online programs, like it's all right. It gets the job done. It's cheaper, which is a good thing, but like
It's cheaper and it
it's
has more
cheaper for a
nostalgia, to
reason.
be honest. A lot of
Yeah, definitely.
a lot of new a lot of like stuff like Game Pass has a lot of newer stuff, but unfortunately, a lot of newer stuff is junk. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
like there's a lot of stuff. I have a Series S, and I occasionally pick up Game Pass just to like maybe try a couple of games if they're on there. And a lot of there's just certain periods of time where it feels like borderline shovelware is on there.
Yeah. Um, but that's the thing about subscription services that you don't have to buy the game to figure out if it's shovelware or not.
Yeah.
And I think the Nintendo Switch Online kind of has the same problem, but the best thing apart about it is that it has a really large backlog, and they've only removed I think one game after adding so many titles to it. It isn't like a rotation.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, like once they're there to stay because Nintendo owns most of them anyway.
Yeah, or they do. They're really good with the with making sure the licenses worked out. I can't believe they have GoldenEye on there,
Yeah, because like you never see licensed games get re-releases like that.
or freaking Soul Calibur 2 with the Link stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty neat, honestly.
Yeah, um, the fact that they can get those makes me think they will finally add Smash Brothers.
That would be cool. Is it okay if I maybe go on about one more thing about the GameCube Switch 2 or
Oh
Switch
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Online?
That's what I was about to lead into. Yeah.
Oh, um, well, I know they showed it off briefly in the trailer for the GameCube NSO pack, but I'm really hoping that Luigi's Mansion is one of the first games that gets added, specifically because you've played Luigi's Mansion before, right?
I played a little bit of three.
Oh, okay. Well, one, it's basically about the same, just a lot shorter.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So
to make
the
up for it, oh, sorry, what?
I was just gonna say, yeah, but it looks so good because it Luigi's Mansion is not is more like a metro is like a I would call it Luigi's Metroidvania.
That's pretty fair.
It's just super cool to see. Like it's a very like 3D. It's like a 3D Metroidvania, but not like Prime. You know, it
Yeah,
has its own
it's
sort of style of Metroidvania.
it's kind of like a tech demo, but in the best way possible. And
Yeah,
one thing about the game is that since it's so short, there's another mode that you unlock when you first beat the game called the
yeah.
Hidden Mansion, and it basically
Not
it
right
like
now.
mirrors the entire mansion layout, but in the NTSC version, it's the difficulty is kept the exact same, but with the PAL and the Japanese version, it the difficulty gets cranked up to like 10, and I'm really hoping they keep that for the NSO version just across the board. Like I don't know if they will or not, but I'm still hoping.
Yeah, I'm just super excited to play a lot of these games, especially online. Um,
Hmm.
especially Game Boy, and Game Boy Advance, because those were such a pain to get working with multiplayer.
Just because
Especially
you had to.
like four swords in like how the heck were you supposed to get four people to play that?
Yeah,
You had to buy so many extra junk to play that.
yeah. This is kind of just a pipe dream, but imagine if they put Faceball 2000 on NSO. Have you heard of that game?
I have not heard of that game before.
Uh, it's basically a it's it's an admittedly technically impressive but still mediocre first-person shooter for the Game Boy. But the main thing that people remember it for is that it has 16-player multiplayer.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so like if there was ever a way to do that on NSO, that would be that would be really funny, but like
Yeah.
also kind of cool.
Yeah. Another thing I'm really excited about with Nintendo Switch Online, I've really not gotten into the Sega Genesis lineup. I'm super excited to get into that hopefully. But I can tell you right now, one of my first purchases after getting the NSO, I am getting that N64 controller. I might pick up the GameCube one a little later, but I'm getting an N64 one because that never gets re-released.
Yeah, with the GameCube controller, it's still kind of rare when they do re-release it because like it really only comes around when the new Smash Bros comes out.
Yeah,
But
but a lot of
it's
third parties re-release like stuff in that shape,
oh yeah,
PDP,
fair
etc.
point.
But it's like nobody tries to do the N64 controller.
Because
It's
it's
considered stupid, but I love it.
yeah it's really awkward, but like it's got this like charm to it, you know.
Yeah, like individual C buttons. It's like
Yeah, and like what other company besides Nintendo would like intentionally design a controller that's that's designed to use three hands to hold?
yeah, I legitimately can't wait. Um, on to the next topic then. All
That's
right,
fine. Excuse
all
me.
right, all right. Hold on. Let me. So there was one more thing that I wanted to pull up about the Switch. There was something. Hold on, gone. Where was it? I can't find it anymore. It was something recent. I can't find it. Hold on. Where is it? I'm trying to figure out what it was. Nah, I can't find it. Anyways, da-da-da-da. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just move on to the next topic. Let me pull it up. Da-da-da-da. Oblivion remastered. So Blizzard decided to shadow drop Oblivion remastered, um, and people like it. Some people don't like it. I've not. I have no fight in this because I have never played Oblivion or any Elder Scrolls game. Um, did you play Oblivion back in the day?
I did not. I've played like the first hour of Skyrim, but that's all the experience I have with Elder Scrolls.
All right, yeah. Then let's move on to the next big one. Microsoft raises the price of all Xbox Series consoles, and the Xbox games are confirmed to be $80 this holiday.
Mm, that's great.
Well,
It's almost too thrilling for words.
let's just say this. You're the worst selling console. Your games are the worst selling, except on PC, which I don't even think you're even selling on the Windows or Xbox store that good. I think most of your games that are selling well are on Steam. Uh, and you decide to price hike.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
yeah. So, moving on to the next topic. Spyro and Crash Bandicoot Reboot Studio, Toys for Bob, wants to bring back Banjo Kazooie next. Um, since 2018, the formerly Microsoft owned studio, they actually split off, has released again, which is nice. They've released the Spyro Reignited trilogy, the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy, um, Crash Bandicoot 4. I will say though, they helped with Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. I think it was Vicarious Visions that did most of the work on Insane Trilogy, and they also did Crash Team Rumble, reinvigorating two beloved but largely stagnant franchises, Spyro and Crash. Now, Toys for Bob co-studio head and executive director Paul Yan says the studio has its eyes on another iconic performing series, Banjo Kazooie. Well,
Mm.
thing is that the rest of Banjo Kazooie are with Xbox. They're with Microsoft. Microsoft has worked with them. Uh, as long as there's no beef with Toys for Bob splitting off on its own, I think it would do really well. But I also wanted to bring up something else, and that is Vicarious Visions. So after seeing this, I was like, what happened to Vicarious Visions? Vicarious Visions was like had a bunch of cool stuff. They did a bunch of cool things. They did a bunch of games for the Game Boy, and then they did Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 for the not for the PlayStation, but for the Game Boy Advance. Um, they did a whole bunch of the iconic licensed portable games throughout all of like the early 2000s. They also did, as controversial as it was, Doom 3 for the original Xbox. Um, or at least they ported it to Xbox. Um, but yeah, all of the major like licensed kids games for the Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS. You know those Guitar Hero games on the DS and Wii? Those they did those. Um, it's just it's just sad because they were a huge, and then they went on to do Skylanders, I think. Yeah, I think they went on to do Skylanders, and then they made the Crash Insane trilogy. Um, so what happened was is then around 2021, Vicarious Visions was moved from Activision Blizzard, from being a subsidiary of Activision to a subsidiary of Blizzard, and the 200 employees of Vicarious Visions would be employees of Blizzard. They then decided to change the name to just be merged into Blizzard, and the studio itself would be called Blizzard Albany.
Mm.
So, unfortunately, the Vicarious Visions that did a bunch of these old that I kind of liked, they're gone now. Vicarious Visions is gone, which I think is just kind of sad.
Yeah, I
It's
can
it's so
see. I
weird to
yeah.
see. So my thing is that Vicarious Visions was acquired by um, Activision Blizzard, and a lot of people were hoping that, but Activision Blizzard's now owned by Microsoft and Xbox. I think, right? And think Microsoft acquired Blizzard, right? I swear,
Yeah, I think Activision and thus Blizzard as well.
yeah, they acquired the company, right? Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
my
it was a
brain
few
hurt.
years
So
back, I think.
my thing is, do you think Blizzard Albany could spin off and become Vicarious Visions again? If so,
Mm,
that would be cool. Let
yeah,
them do
I,
their own thing again, because unfortunately, after becoming under part of that, they just became a a support studio again. They've just become a support studio, which is super
that's
sad.
the worst.
Yeah, especially after the the one thing that they made. Um, um, guess what their last thing was that they did before being integrated as a um, essentially a co-developer support developer. They made the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 plus 2 remake.
Hmm.
They it was a full remake of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 games. Um, yeah, it was Vicarious Vision's final work before it was merged into Blizzard. Um, there is a sequel being made, but it's not being developed by Vicarious Visions or Blizzard's main stuff at all. And it's kind of sad that we've just lost Vicarious Visions. We've lost a good development studio.
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
Yeah, but thing is that th- people like studios like Toys for Bob um, give me hope that we might see that again. Um, I mean, we had we had Toys for Bob split off from my Xbox. Come on, Vicarious Visions, come back. You could
Hmm.
do it too. All right. I think I had one or two more topics. I'm double checking something. Oh yeah, Grand Theft Auto 6 got delayed. Uh, I'll be honest, I've never played a Grand Theft Auto, so none of it excites me. But I know this series means a lot to other people,
Yeah,
especially some of
I'm
the,
about the same way.
especially about like the racing and the mini games and stuff like that. People really like it.
Mm.
A lot of people consider Grand Theft Auto kind of like a lot of people consider Minecraft. It's just a game to run around with and do things with. I mean, the freaking number of GTA role plays online is like enormous. It's like a whole
Hmm.
thing to itself. GTA role play. I don't know, but I don't know like what happens or what's going on. I just know it's huge. Um, another thing, Expedition 33 hits 2 million copies sold after 12 days on sale.
Oh wow.
It's a turn-based it's a turn-based game. So I'm curious. I want to I want to see what they do because it's been a while since I've played a good turn-based RPG. Um, I'm about to start Persona 5, so um, that'll probably be the one I'm gonna be working on. But I'm still super glad glad for a small studio to get such a big hit. This was developed by only 34 people. Very small studio.
Mm,
Yeah, but the thing is, you only could have. Yeah, it was so close, so close. You only, you just had to fire one person, and then it would have been developed by 33 people. You had to do one
yeah.
hire one extra person.
Mm,
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But yeah, it evidently it has a super interesting story of like once you reach a certain age, you like you immediately disappear. I think it's like once you reach the age of like 34, you're immediately gone or disappear or something like that. I'm super interested. I think I think that was everything. Did you have anything you wanted to go over for
I not that I can think of.
Okay. What games did you play last couple weeks?
Um, Mainly just stuff that's kind of been I'm on my back or not on my backlog, but just stuff I've already played before, just to kind of tide me over until the Switch 2. I did the the only the only really new game I picked up was actually a few days ago on sale. I got Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic for my Switch.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's a great one. Fun fact, the original Roller Coaster Tycoon, do you know who developed that?
It was one of the guys that he worked on The Sims or Sim City, wasn't it?
Yes. Um, but the big thing about Roller Coaster Tycoon and like that whole group of people that went on to make The Sims, um, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I think believe it was the team that made Lego Island.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Um,
Hmm.
hold on. Just double checking. Let me see. Da, 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 da. Just double checking something. I can't. No, it was The Sims. Sorry, The Sims. Um, I'm thinking The Sims. Yeah, but the guys who worked on The Sims were the ones who um, made. Yeah,
Hmm.
hold on. I'm double checking some names real quick. Um, I was just reading about this the other day. Why does everything I want to research not show up? Oh, can I just say how terrible it is to Google things nowadays? It's like it's so hard to find what I want, the information I want to figure out. So hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, I think that pretty much does it for today. I think that was everything that had happened over the last couple weeks. But in terms of games, I did not play any games. I was busy this week, but I did read a book, and
Ooh.
oh my goodness, what a book! I can most heartily recommend Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. It is a prequel um, to the very popular Hunger Games series trilogy, and I'll be honest, this is one of her best works. It makes everything. Let me just say this: um, I every time I thought in the last four books that that the Capitol was despicable and they had run out of ways to make me sick. But hello again. This really got under my skin of just how dark, how corrupt, how oppressive the Capitol was. And it it was fantastic. Definitely worth a read. I think that's everything. Let me see if I can find somebody for us to raid. Give me 1 second. I'm probably gonna rate Cranberry in Nari. Thank you everybody for having a wonderful day. I will catch you all next time. Let me copy and paste um Inari's Twitch in the chat. Have a fantastic day everybody. And we will see you all in 2 weeks. Which will be, I think, the last stream before we get our Switch 2s.
Mm.
It's going to be a really interesting, guys. See you all then.
Yep. Bye bye.
Bye.